Former Spanish Foreign Minister Arancha Gonzalez Laya, she is now the Dean of the Paris School of International Affairs at Sciences Po. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are going to get to so much that they'll be discussing around that table in the days to come. But before that, I do want to talk to you about the passing of Madeleine Albright. She, of course, was the first woman U.S. Secretary of State and quite a champion of a lot of the issues that we were just discussing. Given your commitment to gender equity and diplomacy specifically, I mean, what are your reactions?
Well, it's a very sad day, Paula. It's a very sad day to hear the passing of Madeleine. The transatlantic alliance has lost a staunch supporter, someone who believed and practiced democracy and freedom. I personally have lost a friend and a mentor. I still remember a year ago when she joined us in the launch of Spain's first feminist foreign policy with her usual energy and her commitment. It's a sad day, but the best thing we can do, Paula, all of us, is follow on her steps, follow her on the defense of democracy, freedom, and women's empowerment.
Yeah, and it brings us, unfortunately, to the conflict at hand as we watch Joe Biden arrive there in Brussels. To put it simply, NATO and its allies are trying to stop this war. That has not happened yet. There's no evidence that we're even close. Now, I have argued that sanctions are the long game and not necessarily going to help the civilians being bombarded at this very hour in Ukraine. What do you propose that NATO allies could do to really move the needle here?
Well, unfortunately, this is a very complicated situation, and I think the only thing we can do is continue on the triple track we've started as the war started. First, obviously, is limit the ability of Vladimir Putin to continue financing the war. This is what the sanctions are about, limiting his ability to get the financial means to spend on this very expensive war. Number two, we have to keep helping Ukraine with military equipment and, more importantly, with intelligence. This is a lot of what NATO allies and friends around the world are doing to help Ukraine wage this war. And number three, let's not forget, is welcome all these Ukrainian refugees that are coming to Europe. Over 4 million now, to help them resettle in Europe while this war lasts.
Yeah, and that's true. It is not to be forgotten. Really, it's unprecedented what Europe is doing right now, certainly in the last few decades. And they have much has been asked of them, and now they will ask much of Joe Biden to try and give them aid in order to help in this effort. I want to ask you, though, in terms of the NATO alliance itself, some might think it looks impotent at this point because it is not doing more. You argue that NATO can't do more because the stakes are too high in terms of entering the conflict directly.
Well, I don't think NATO can enter this conflict on a military front. This would be two nuclear powers fighting against each other, and thus we know what it would lead to. But it doesn't mean that NATO cannot help. NATO is already helping. NATO has been training the military in Ukraine to be able to fight back. NATO and its allies are providing the necessary equipment for Ukraine to fight back. And again, let's not underestimate the power of intelligence that all allies are sharing with Ukraine in order to identify the best means to take Russia by surprise and the best means to respond to Russia's attack. This is what we can do. We have to do more of this in a committed manner because the Ukrainian fight today is the fight of all of us who believe in democracy and freedom.
Yeah, and going back to how we started this conversation, that is certainly the legacy that Madeleine Albright would want for this alliance. Madam Arancha Gonzalez, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.